everybody! Welcome to the Dungeon Cooldown. Happy Monday.
Woo. Yay, it's the official companion show to the Dungeon Run. I'm Jeff.
Did you just do an accidental Jerry Seinfeld? It sounded a little Seinfeld.
Who are these people?
I'm Jeff. As if that's no big deal at all. Jeff,
I thought we'd all introduce ourselves, but I guess that didn't work out.
I think we should just introduce you. You're the Jeff is the DM, the man, the mystery, the legend.
The mystery.
Right. I think he's quite mysterious. I don't know what's going on in his brain at any given moment. Other than referencing things that I don't know.
The differences between Denver and or Colorado and California before we started the show, and he was just going off.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You can see the beautiful Colorado sunset behind me.
Nice. Yeah, that's reflecting through the windows. Gorgeous. Yeah, you're 8 hours ahead of us? 6 hours ahead of us?
Yeah, that's how it works. That's how it works.
So who are you, person on the far left?
Hi, I'm Jared Kajak. I play Civ Red Thistle on the Dungeon Run.
And I'm Jess. I play Fahima. And I just saw a Morgan Peter Brown gifting 5 subs to the community.
I'm not familiar with that person.
Yeah.
This is a show that is made entirely possible because of Patreon. Thank you, patrons, at patreon.com/thedungeonrun. The only reason we're here and the only reason the show exists is because of your generosity. So thank you very much. It really is. That's the only reason.
We actually wouldn't want to be here if it wasn't for you.
Oh
guys.
God, no. No, I don't want to be around you people.
Jared, really quickly, can you turn up your volume a little bit? We're getting a comment that volume's a little low. That's my bad. I'm running tech here today. I want to say hello to our first folks in chat. You Oakhart with a hello. We have a hype train incoming. Where is that coming from? Oh my God. Oh, it's coming from Jim Witted dropping some bits for us. Thank you. Happy Monday to you. Chifrikus, Redheaded Stepchild, Grasp My Hand, Denip, Legendary Marvel Man, Tuo Mask, Witch Space. Hello. So today we are talking about episode 103, which is called Small Town Dreams. And that came out last Wednesday. And lots of cool stuff happened in that episode.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
Not so cool stuff happened in that episode too.
So we are going to be answering the questions submitted by our patrons, by you lovely people. You can also submit questions in chat if you're here live. We'll get our patron questions first. But what were you referring to there, Jared Kajak, about the not so fun stuff?
There was parts of that episode that reminded me very clearly of some periods of time in my high school and early college days where I tried very hard to woo some ladies, and it went very poorly.
Oh,
yeah. I was a civ without all of the cool.
Were any of us cool kids in high school?
I mean, I doubt it. We're all theater kids, right?
Yeah, theater geeks. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I was that hopeless romantic that thought like writing a poem or doing some grand gesture would woo the lady when it just completely fell on its face.
It's hilarious to me that girls will say that they just wish they had a guy who would write them poetry and stuff, and then it happens, and they're like, yeah, but not you.
No, girls don't actually want that until they hit like 30, and then they're like, oh, I'm so into that. But before that. Sure. Not into it.
I should have just gone after some 30-year-olds when I was in high school then. What was I thinking?
You should have. 30-year-olds would have been very appreciative of it.
Oh my God. I just saw a comment in chat. What is it? Fail Awful said, who said theaters can't be cool? Yeah, right? A couple comments. Theater kids are cool.
Well, also the world has changed a lot since I was in school. Nerd became cool. I was there when all that stuff was genuinely not cool, and I endured that.
I also got a comment in here from JT Justice that said, "You mean not the loss of a very powerful spell as a babysitter?" That was a big moment in the episode as well. We had
so many folks very opinionated about that.
I know, I love it.
I do too.
Hey, any news is good news, right?
Yeah.
So for those of you who haven't seen it, or for those of you who haven't seen the show, there was a moment where we discovered a 7th level powerful spell that can make certain other spells permanent, and Fahima, my character, chose to use it to conjure basically a babysitter for some magical creatures in her basement. Do we want to talk
Which
about
I think
that?
completely tracks for Fahima, but you should talk about it more.
No, I want to talk about it together. I think so too.
I mean, also, I kind of feel like we looked at all the options, and that made the most sense. Unless we were going to go the Civ route and sell off all the creatures for money, which I don't think anybody else was going to be on board for.
No, I mean...
Yeah.
Wait, where did you say that? Did you say that in our text thread, or was it somewhere else where you were like, let's just sell the creatures for gold?
If I say it during the show, then I get chastised during the show. But in the text thread, I can get away with a lot more.
I think that the criticism comes from the fact that this permanency spell is so powerful and so potentially potent, based on what your mind sort of reels at the possibilities, because it is a spell that works on other spells. So there's just this exponential variety of options with regard to it. And to do it on an unseen servant feels maybe a bit pedestrian in comparison to some of the grand ideas that one could come up with. But there's a number of factors, right? One is Fahima wasn't going to be able to use it for 2 more levels, or even learn it for 2 more levels.
Which is a long time from now.
And months in game.
Right. So use it as a scroll. Okay, well, you could still use it as a scroll for something a little bit more eye-popping, perhaps. But you guys had this immediate problem, a problem that is very near and dear to Fahima's heart. And I thought it was such a clever solution. It's not one... I didn't place the permanency spell there for this purpose. You guys came up with that, and I thought it was really
Morgan came up
smart
with it.
and clever. I thought it was a fun idea to, honestly, I will totally cop to this. If I had thought of this, I would have already had Conroy have cast permanency on an unseen servant, and I would have had you guys discover an unseen servant in some funny way. I think that would have been a really fun moment, but I didn't even think of that. You guys thought of that.
It was all Morgan. Morgan said it in our text thread privately outside of Jeff, and I was like, stop the press. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. Okay, we have to figure out a way to do this.
Yeah, and I think it's a fun notion that, especially with Lily's mass unseen servant, which she got, which was sort of a homebrewy version of that spell. So I don't know. I thought it was really cool, and it may not be as potentially gobsmacking as permanent other things, like enlarge or whatever you want to say. But I thought it was a really fun solution to the problem.
Well, I love this comment that I think it was Aegis13. I could be wrong in the Discord. Said that moment, while it wasn't optimized, proves that in a way that Fahima isn't after power. She's after. I mean, she's playing true to her values, which is, these creatures are the most important thing to her.
Yep.
Yeah. There were a couple people in Discord that said, now that I've seen Fahima's hometown and the way she grew up, her character makes so much more sense. And I actually had that revelation when we first got to the town.
I mean,
Jared
hopefully that's been the case for every character, right?
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely. Civ, big time too. I mean, yeah, every single character, definitely.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's been a long journey to get to Axe Sprite, so it's cool to finally discover what's really going on there. And I mean, especially for me, since I didn't really know either.
There is also a chance that you're going to be able to get permanency later on too. Like it exists. It's in the world. It's possible for you to obtain at some point.
So Hadrian X just said, so permanency is gone now unless Conroy kept a copy. Well, my assumption, I could be wrong, is that a wizard like him who's creating spells himself, or even just is a great wizard, he's not going to have just a single scrap of notebook paper with a spell written on it. There's going to be notes elsewhere, or he's copied it down in his book. I agree with Jared. There's hopefully going to be ways to obtain that spell later on. And
Night Drifter Buzz says it's got to be in Conroy's spellbook. I think that's a pretty safe assumption. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
So we just need to kill Conroy. That's what you're saying.
That
Murder Conrad. That's the goal of the team.
Civ always finds a way to twist what's going on in the story. So you're telling me violence is needed?
Yeah, I've been on pretty good behavior lately. I think I've been at the very least chill.
Yeah.
If not, yeah. There have been several situations recently, and even within the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 8 episodes where I feel like Civ could have snapped and shanked somebody, but he's learning, he's changing. You know?
Yeah.
Some character growth there.
Yeah. Well, do you
Just
want to
like
talk at all about you and Lily too?
Yeah, I mean, should we answer some questions? I think there's some questions
Sure,
about that, so we'll get to that for sure. Should we jump into questions? Are we ready for that?
I'm ready.
Give it up.
Okay. Red Robin, Jeff, no question, just pure cute kudos. Totally sick nightmare scene, storytelling at its best. There you go. Jared.
Thank you.
Civ changes his accent from Civrac to Red Thistle often, but I noticed it's been Red Thistle since making his promise to the Watchers and Turles. Was that the end of Civrac? This is a very good question. It's a question that I ask myself constantly, and I kind of feel like I just sort of feel it out. I'm like, is this a moment where he reverts, or is this a moment where he stays Red Thistle? And I think the promise that he made was him trying to put 2 feet squarely into the Red Thistle camp. That being said, there are definitely things that could happen that could trigger him and snap him back into Civrac. Just remember, he doesn't want to be Civrac anymore. He's fighting against that. So if he ever goes there, it's not because he wants to, it's because something has forced him into that situation. He's been cornered, in other words.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my thought process on Civ versus Civrac. I'm guessing something pretty bad would have to happen for him to go back to Civrac now, but I guess that's a Jeff question.
Well, it's just nice that nothing bad ever happens to this group.
Yeah.
Ha.
Marie Listopad. Jared, did you and Ron have a discussion about the reveal of Civ's love for Lily at Stranger's Fate? No. Not even close. I was intrigued by Ugo's reaction to the news. Yes. Yeah. I mean, what were your guys' thoughts on the Christmas episode from the past and Civ and Ugo's reveal?
That 2 years ago Christmas episode?
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 years ago.
What did Ugo reveal?
That he loved Lily as well.
Yeah. And I think the reason why she's asking that question is because of the Reed situation and how Civ is kind of, at least temporarily, in Ugo's shoes for a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I mean, my answer is always the more drama, the better. You know, you see me over on the side, like, he. Just so enthralled by everything that you do. So the more confession, the more push and pull there is, the happier I am.
Yeah, I love it. I enjoy all that stuff, and I thought Ron played that really beautifully. And I'm glad that there wasn't an ongoing inter-party conflict that lasted too long, because I think that could have gotten a little disruptive as far as getting anything accomplished. I like that I thought Ron handled that really beautifully. Like it was this emotional moment for Ugo, and kind of a growth moment as well, that allowed Ugo to kind of see who he is and how he feels about other people and the family in his life and the love that he feels for all of the other characters. And I thought Ron played that really, really beautifully. I thought that was amazing. But I also still like love triangles, and that's why one got reintroduced.
Who doesn't like a love triangle?
Gord the Rogue in chat asked, Jeff, what or who inspired you to do Reed's voice?
So that's funny. I had been wanting. I talked to Katie about bringing Reed back over a year ago.
Wow.
and because Reed was part of her backstory. That was originally like in her first document about Lily Dumblestuck, is she met this guy at this campfire in Bingle, and he inspired her to leave the island. And when all of the lovey-dovey Civ stuff was happening, I was like, oh dude, it's too juicy not to like bring this character back. And I wanted to clear it with Katie to make sure she was cool with there being sort of that, these feelings for a character. So I talked to her about it over a year ago, and I was like, at some point I want to bring this character back. Are you cool with that? And she said, yeah, absolutely. And so I didn't know when or how for a long time. And, but I was constantly kind of thinking about how he was going to sound. And for a long time I wanted him to be sort of, a bit of a debonair kind of, I wanted it to be immediately clear that he was a quote unquote threat to Civ. Like he was a quote unquote, he was
hot.
Yeah. If
romantic,
he wasn't charming, then he wouldn't have done very well.
Yes. Yeah. So for a long time I was thinking he was going to have sort of like a Spanish, Antonio Banderas kind of vibe to him.
Yeah.
But then I got to the Southern Gentleman thing, and I just fell in love with that notion. And
it kind of worked too, because we just did Ricochet too, so we were coming off of Ricochet, and then it was like, well, if the savagery sounds like that, or at least a piece of the savagery 100,000 years ago, sounds like that, then it's in the world, it's canon at that point.
And that first line that he said to Lily was the one that sort of defined it for me when I thought of him saying, "Oh, Lily Dumblestuck, as I live and breathe," and I was like, "Yeah, that's the guy. That's him right there." So that's where it came from.
Yeah, everybody thinks he's sus now.
I know, dude. Hey, you want some serious cool down exclusives? That's gonna be our new catchphrase. When I'm gonna reveal something, serious cool down exclusives. No, nobody.
We're just
nobody
shaking our
likes
heads.
I will tell you.
Exclusives.
I will tell you, Reed had a lot of information to give you guys, but no one wanted to hear from Reed. No one trusted Reed. No one wanted to hear from Reed. Literally, the only other adventurer you've ever come across that's like actively out in the world, been to places you haven't been, tons of information to give you. All he wanted to do was give you information. But no, nothing. Nobody's interested.
Well, the thing is, you started it out with, "Hey wizards, here's a wizard house with all kinds of wizardy stuff." So they immediately disappeared. They just ran and put their names in books, and that was game over for them. Then the rogue and the used to be a barbarian, now paladin, venture forth into town, and they run into him, and he's got a huge crush on the girl that they both had or have feelings for. So there's a immediate wall there. Plus, he did not trust Uggo or Civ for a second.
Right.
They were like,
why would he?
Buddy, come hang out with us.
Well, he's like, hey, this girl I'm interested in is hanging out with all these new people. And then she's like, hey, let's have a drink. He's like, awesome, let's have a drink. And then the drink happens, but she's not there. But these two tough looking dudes are. Of course he's gonna be like, what's this now?
So Jeff clearly has never dated a girl who had two older brothers. Clearly. You always have to talk to the two older brothers or the dad, or the dad and the older brother before you get to take the girl out. Clearly.
But here's a guy who's been out in the world as an adventurer, surviving for many years on his own without the benefit of a party. He's gonna sniff out a trap. He's gonna feel like, oh shit, these guys are, and then they're like, hey, let's go on this quest together. You can have all the money. He's like, whoa. That's no one gives up that for nothing. I'm gonna go out there. You guys are gonna shank me in the back and take the reward. That's what he's thinking. Of course.
That checks out.
And honestly, the old Civ, that's exactly what he would have done. That's exactly what he would have done.
Yeah.
But he's hanging with Uggo now. He's hanging with a group that's got morals. So that rubs off on a person.
And that whole Lily scene is like, hey, give me give me some information so I can help you. I want to help in some way. Tell me where you're going so I can help. And then the more he pressed, the more everyone's like, this guy, I don't know. It's very funny. It was very funny to me.
We had Gord the Rogue
defending him, and then he, as soon as Reed started doing that and really pushing for information, that's when he flipped over to the side of, okay, this guy's super sus.
Yeah,
I've seen this
Reed.
comment.
He's just like, give me something I can help you with. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Jeff
Jessica.
is just salty they didn't spill the beans to the Ashen Mage's chief spy.
There you go. There you go. Didn't fall for it.
You never know. You never know.
All right, so Marie Listopad has a bunch more. Jessica, will the results of the dream cause Fahima to be more cautious with this type of magic? Good question. How will this change the way she uses magic?
100%. Yeah. Because we don't really know if it was Barbara. We don't know if it was the Ashen Mage. And I think that was showing her that dreams are one of the riskiest ways that she can try to communicate with people, because she's unconscious, so she can't protect herself. She doesn't have any of her spells going. And you're in such a vulnerable state. I tried to, during that dream, play into a little bit of this. I know we are sort of like lucid dreaming. We're cognizant of what's happening in a dream, but once it started to turn into Inception and Conroy was saying that you killed me and Zanelka said that you killed me, I tried to play into that feeling of when you're having a nightmare, even though it's bizarre, it's real. It feels real to you. So I would think that just like us in real life, that would be really hard to shake, especially because this is an arcane dream. So she won't be using the dream spell for a while. And this kind of, it sort of relates to Fahima's, her dislike for mind control spells. So she's already kind of tipped on that side of the scale. So yeah, she won't be using it for a while.
Interesting.
It's risky.
Yeah,
change your perception of the Ashen Mage, because you seemed very drawn to her, and now, I guess my question is, now that she's sort of shown you that other side of who she is that going to make that less attractive or more attractive, or are you saying that Fahima doesn't even think it was the Ashen Mage and it was possibly Barbara? Or what are your thoughts on that?
What is the other side that you're saying that the Ashen Mage showed us?
Well, I think the Ashen Mage up until this point has been very kind to Fahima. Very kind. Because she wants something from Fahima. And this is the first time I've seen, because I don't watch the secret rooms with you and Jeff being the Ashen Mage. This is the first time I've heard or seen the Ashen Mage come after you. It's almost like, the seductress has turned to the interrogator, or the mom has shifted over to she's angry and she's punishing you now. So I guess my question is, do you feel like Fahima is starting to see that as a possible negative aspect of the Ashen Mage, or not?
I didn't feel that this was out of character for the Ashen Mage. I didn't feel that it was a big sway from how she's treated Fahima in the past. I still don't think that, given what we know she's capable of, that it was threatening. I mean, to come after me in a dream and to talk to me still seems like she's being pretty nice, all things considered. Okay. Yeah. So it didn't really change.
Even though she went after your dad.
In the dream?
She used your dad against you. Your love for your dad is what the tool that she was using. I feel like if she just shows up as Fahima and then, I don't know, attacks you, that's not going to get through to you. But showing the possibility that she could go after Conroy is a whole nother level. That's going after the people that you love.
She already knows that the Ashen Mage is going after Conroy. She's following in Conroy's footsteps. She said that I can't remember if I shared that with the party or not, but that happened. She said that in the vision with Fahima. So yeah, again, to answer your question, I I just saw those as mind games. Fahima just saw those as mind games. And a real threat would be perhaps showing something that she's actually threatening Conroy with in real life.
Okay, so that was just magic dreamland and not real.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Fahima can withstand that.
One possible reading of the dream, and hopefully there are multiple possible readings of the dream, and I hoped that the dream would feel dreamlike in that it adds up, but it kind of doesn't also. One possible reading of the dream is it's the Ashen Mage saying, you could have done this, but instead you did this. Mm-hmm. So instead of, if you and I had teamed up, we could have saved your dad, but now because you didn't choose to join me, you killed him. I think that's sort of one possible reading of that. So it's not even that.
That is more threatening to read it that way. Definitely.
Well, it's not even threatening. It's just like, I mean, the whole point she was making is your worst enemy is you. It's not me. Like that's the dream was your worst enemy is yourself. You're doing this to yourself. Mm-hmm. You're lying, you're deceiving, you're doing all these things to yourself. And that was why all of the Fahimas came into being, you know?
I just see the Ashen Mage grabbing Fahima by the arm, making her punch herself, and continually saying, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself.
I mean, very much what the time with the Ashen Mage was like. I think you would agree, Jessica.
Yeah, definitely. I at this point feel similarly to Fahima, where I'm trying to stay 2 steps ahead of the Ashen Mage, and of course I can't. And that makes me feel confused as to what I want. Speaking as Fahima, what she wants out of the Ashen Mage, because we've seen that there's kind of conflicting morals, but also similar goals. And she's trying to tango with the Ashen Mage, but it's very difficult. And so, at this point, I think I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop with the Ashen Mage to kind of really decide what to do next with the situation, other than evade.
Jafrikas in the chat says, I choose to believe the dream was just Babs. And I love that. The other possible reading of this is that all of this is just an outgrowth of Fahima's own insecurities and own deepest, darkest fears, just like all of our dreams are this outgrowth of this thing we think deep down, and that Barbara just plucked Fahima's biggest worries and anxieties about it and manifested a version of the Ashen Mage that isn't even accurate. That is just Fahima's worst fear of how she behaves, or worst fears about herself, you know?
Ooh, Fahima's worst fear of the Ashen Mage is that she's going to really like her haircut. That is her worst nightmare. Seen it,
right? It's been under the hood for so long.
Yeah. As soon as she sees that hair, game over.
Yeah, I think Ugo or Sid might need to take a level 1 therapist as the next class choice.
Yeah. Add that to the next our North Dracana.
I'd say Morgan, but he's got demon stuff to deal with.
I probably shouldn't be so explicit about all my thoughts and ideas about this stuff, but I like the idea. It felt too easy to let a dream, as somebody who has had lots of dreams in their life that are troubling and awkward and just dreams that stick with you and affect your day, and it felt
too. Jeff, tell us about your dream.
I had a dream last night that was a real doozy. I just felt like allowing the dream to just be this easy communication that's not problematic in any way, that just lets people like, hey, we'll just hang out and chat. Like, that's not really how dreams are. And even though you guys have been able to do that a few times, I felt like, okay, well, now there needs to be, I love what you said, Jessica, about the Fahima's takeaway is like, oh no, dreams can't, it's scary, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's an important part of it. It's really, I'm really happy that was the takeaway.
Well, Morgan raises a great point in chat. How could Barbara know all those details about the Ashen Mage and everything, though? Well, I think if we go with that kind of theory, then Barbara has the capability to root around a person's mind, sort of like you do, right, James?
Yeah, well, it's not so much
mind flayers. They can just poke into your brain and go, I want this information. Thank you. Now I'm going to use it against you.
Yeah. Or it's not exactly Barbara casting dreams so much as, you know, Barbara sort of unlocking the already present worries inside Fahima's mind and letting them run wild and manifest in that space, right? It's like just amplifying. Basically, what Barbara does is sort of amplify someone's feelings. And if Fahima is already worried that she has somehow hurt her dad, or is already worried that she's somehow her own worst enemy, or is somehow worried about all these things, then those just manifest as a natural dream that one would have because of, you know, that opportunity that Barbara is giving them. So I like the idea of being able to read it both ways, and I won't tell you what I think is really what happened, but I like the idea of it being ambiguous.
Yeah, I agree.
Stolby.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to go on to the next question.
I'm trying to find the part in the dream where we had the flopping screens, because that was a really cool move by Sean, our tech director.
Cool.
We had
he didn't know that was coming, by the way. He just sort of improvised that on the fly, which was really neat.
Totally.
David Gen Pro put in chat that they loved that part. So I'm pulling it up here just so we can relive that moment. But you go ahead with your question while I find it.
It's for Jeff. Skolby202. Jeff, I am curious if you had a plan in place for Lily accepting Reed's offer. Would we have had more one-on-one D&D? ?
I did consider that. I did think through how that might play out. I honestly didn't think that Katie would bite in the same way that Jessica did, and I also didn't make it as sort of
do or die, right? But I did think it through. I mean, I if she had accepted, I think we would have played it out, and it would have been an interesting. The ramifications would have been interesting, but I didn't really think Lily would make that decision. I didn't think she would turn her back on the group, but I wanted it to be a genuine offer and a genuine possibility. And I also love the fact that because of what happened with Fahima before, the audience thinks it's a real possibility.
Whoops.
Right? Like, that's important to me, that now we've established that anything is possible, and it wasn't just a moment where it's like, oh, well, of course she can't go. That, you know, people can think, oh, maybe she can go. Who knows? What I like that, you know.
So many people, not only in chat but also in Discord and what have you, assumed that meant Katie was taking a break from the show.
Oh, thank you.
That's also a fun possibility, that it just feels real. It feels like real, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you for that gift sub, Shiny 8-Bit Boo.
Yes, thank you, Shiny 8. You want to show the clip?
Yeah, and also Morgan said in chat here, just to confirm, did Barbara have a name before Jessica called it out in episode 101? Was this pre-planned by Jess and Jeff? Nope.
Jessica absolutely named Barbara in the moment, on the fly. And I think it was the perfect name.
So glad we did. Yeah, I accidentally just threw the video up on screen, so let's just show it. So this is the part where the dream is flip-flopping. Let's see if we can get some volume on here too.
Rising out of her mouth, past her gritted teeth, you see the
names
orange
volume when you
fire
have those kinds of
reflecting in her eyes as she burns.
No, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I chose not to.
MSD3K'ing this. We should be making a dialogue character.
Suddenly the burning Zanalka is gone and your father is back.
And then I think he flashes me over top of your face.
Standing there.
He did a fire thing too when you did.
Yeah, he
You're
did.
alive, Dad, you're alive.
Until
When you-
small,
even know you could do that.
United yourself or
crimson
whatever.
blood
Fire
start to
shot
rise.
across the screen.
There's another part here that I wanted to show because our music team did such an amazing. I when I was watching this back, I was like, "What? This is
Yeah, the music is
incredible."
Baller.
Let
Yeah.
me
They're
pull.
always so good.
It was like the most perfect drop. Just got to scrub over to it.
Wait, is the audience hearing audio from the clip?
Yes, they are.
Oh, well then we're talking over it like idiots. I thought that was quiet.
Yeah, they can hear. Okay, here we go. You're gonna scare me away from the Quake Warden?
It's not going to work.
There's the flash.
You know what?
Music. She puts her hands up.
Do your worst.
Damn!
And all of the Fahimas
So
march
good.
closer to you, blood extracting from your father's corpse in front of you.
Jared and I can't hear
They're
anything.
forging
Oh,
another
sorry.
bloodlands as they
Okay,
get
that's why we were talking.
Okay. All right, we're back.
Yeah, Jared and I didn't hear any of that. I just assumed that nobody was hearing audio, and that's why I
Yeah,
started
me
talking.
too.
Apologies. Apologies.
Yeah, so what just played was right as Fahima said, she steps back and puts her hands up. The gals did like a bum silence.
Yeah, it's so baller.
Like, what? Amazing! And there is I'm gonna pull up the fire too. I think it's right here as you're describing it. Let me transition that over here. This is all Sean. Hey, there it is! Yes! So
Cool.
good. And that happens a couple of times. Oh, so awesome. All right, we're
I'm
back.
surprised he didn't use that before. I mean, there's been so many times where Fahima has shot fire. Although, I'm kind of glad he waited until it was a dream sequence, because that sort of fits. too.
Yeah, it fits the kind of like overall the whole screen.
Yeah,
It's like transcending. It's like the fourth wall, almost breaking the fourth wall.
totally.
Yeah, so brava, Heather and Leah.
Yes, of course.
Unknown Axiom pointed out that the music was the same as the madness sequence. You guys were headed
Whoa.
through the, into the area where the ghost ship
Run.
got
That's
Castle Run.
awesome.
So Bradley Potts, I'd love to know Jared and Jessica's predictions on potential fallout from the Heroes of Bingle visit to Axbright. Read, the menagerie, permanence as a scroll, what was in the box, question mark. Thanks, guys. Oh, and I guess it's cool that you're there too, Jeff.
Thanks.
Jess, why don't you take that question? Any predictions or potential fallout of what's going to happen with Axbright?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I don't think there's gonna be any fallout.
Happy Puffy?
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going to work out?
Mm-hmm.
No problems whatsoever?
Nope. I think everything's gonna be fine.
Okay.
The only thing I
Okay.
can possibly think might happen is that there's something that we didn't discover about the town that's gonna bite us in the butt.
I thought the baker was super helpful.
Yeah, I
with
loved
the maps
him.
and stuff. Yeah. That was
Oh,
kind of a
I would like
cool
to point
little
out.
cameo.
I want to point out that all came from Jessica. Jessica wanted the baker to be the reason that she knows cartography. She asked, she wanted that character to be. She wrote that part of the backstory where they would meet and discuss maps. So that wasn't me just shoehorning information into a character. That grew out of something the player brought to the table and wanted as part of the backstory, is like this fun connection she had with this character in Axbright.
And it was so fun. You gave such a beautiful life to Artie Duffs.
Artie Duffs.
Artie Duffs. The
Next
yes, the baker
question.
soldier.
Yes. Bubble Gummy. Early season's greetings to everyone. Thank you.
Hey,
Are
thank
there
you,
any
Bubble Gummy.
pre-show warm-ups or routines that you do individually or as a group for the show? May all that you do be filled with warm cheer as Christmas nears.
Aw, thank you.
I hope I get to meet Bubble Gummy at some point in person, because she just seems like this ray of sunshine and positivity.
Indeed. Indeed.
As far as warm-ups go, by the time we get to actually do the show, I'm usually like almost kind of raring to go by that point. Like, we've already gone through tech, we've had a full day. Like, I want to get the show started. That's just me though. Like, how about you guys? Do you guys do any warm-ups or anything? Prep?
Well, Wednesday's a 16-hour day for me working on the show. I get up at 8. I mean, I get my kids to school, and I'm done by 8 getting my kids to school. And it is like nose to the grindstone getting ready for the show. But we used to do more of a kind of a groupy, warm-uppy thing when we were in person all
Yeah.
together. It's a little
Yeah.
harder to do that kind of stuff virtually, but
Yeah, it's usually a lot of tech stuff. Like, we're usually making sure all the tech stuff is good to go before we start, so we don't have any issues.
Tech takes about an hour, JT Justice.
Yeah.
And as we keep improving our tech and implementing more and more additions to the show. Like we have some cool stuff planned for 2022 that might end up taking a little bit longer, but luckily we have an amazing team who helps us out doing that. So
yeah,
it all runs very well.
Constantly trying to upgrade stuff and talk about ways to make the show better and what have you. So yeah.
Muggsy79 said 10 of those hours is choosing wines. And you know what, Muggsy? Not wrong. I spill each of them onto my computer just to see which has the best splatter pattern, has the nicest lines.
Did you turn that computer on yet? Have you tested
Still haven't.
it?
Wow. I'm scared.
Wow.
I'm very scared.
You should just pour some rice in it in the meantime.
Yeah, that'll make it better. Get all the rice and all the fans.
It'll just soak up the wine and just shake it out. That's how that works. I start talking in Fahima's voice when I leave the tech call and I go make my dinner. But that's all I do beyond re-looking over my spells and the journaling that I'll do sometimes to figure out what's going on in Fahima's mind and what she thinks about the situation.
Treacherous Idol said, Jeff, you should invest in sippy cups.
Oh, I have 1,000 sippy cups. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. Of course I have. I just, I put a little more confidence in myself than I've earned, I guess.
You need an adult sippy cup.
Yeah.
A big boy sippy cup.
Drinking wine from a sippy cup.
Yes, actually. I had one of my community members from my Twitch streams send me a sippy cup because I spilled my wine so many times on stream.
It's the only reason to. Yeah. It's the only way to drink wine completely reclined.
Jeff, Mr. Sababa has a very unique question for you. Will Orms be the dungeon run's platforming level? What video game should the players play to prepare? Celeste? Super Meat Boy?
Oh yeah, definitely play Super Meat Boy. Super Meat Boy is a game where you die 1,000 times every 4 seconds. So definitely play that one. I'm very excited about the idea of Orms. We'll see if we can pull it off. I know every time I've ever tried to do stuff like that, the team has come up with ideas to subvert all that stuff. For example, the descent into the mantle. If you remember in our time traveling section, there was that big descent, and I had all these cool platforms. We had the 3D team, and I had sections that were going to crumble and break off, and it's like, we all cast fly. And I was like, come on. We had so much preparation for how that was all going to work. You're like, we'll just fly to the bottom. And I was like, we spent tens of hours working on this. Anyway, so I'm sure they'll come up with something that'll subvert mine.
That's how you know we don't metagame.
Yeah. Morgan said, please don't bring up that fight, Jeff. Well, I was just mad. I just wanted to knock you guys out of the air so bad. Anyway.
You did. I remember getting a concussion in that fight. And I think it had a lot to do with Mr. Morgan Peter Brown losing concentration.
Yeah. I remember that.
Sarah Stapikis? Jeff, I've recently been catching up on episodes of We Have Concerns and was interested in the episode where you discussed the paradox problem with time travel. How much of the time travel arc and its rules were influenced or inspired by what you've learned to be the science of time travel and paradoxes? Since the HOB spent countless scenes debating the consequences of killing Whitebeard, for example. And now that we are seeing many beautiful callbacks to things that happened as a result of the HOB in the past, Floriog and the White Witch, for example.
Great question, Sarah.
Question in there or not, but yeah.
No, thank you for listening to We Have Concerns. That's my comedy science podcast. You can find wherever you get great podcasts. WeHaveConcerns.com. It's also a place. Only 700 episodes of those to check out. Yes, I am obsessed with time travel, science fiction. I think about it all the time. I have like multiple screenplays about science fiction that are in various states of incompleteness and of time travel. And one of the things that I really wanted to do once we realized that, the time travel side quest was going to last more than just a few weeks, because when we started it, we thought, oh, COVID, we'll be back in like 3 weeks. Yeah. So once we realized it was going to be a while, the goal for me was to create a situation in which everything fit together seamlessly, so that everything they did reverberated in the present. Everything they knew about the present was seeded in the past. My goal was to make it all work as if the entire time we'd been doing the show, the past had already had them in it, right? So that it wasn't that they were changing the past and therefore changing the present. It was that they had already done that because the past was the past, and so they had been back there, and the tendrils of what had happened were already present in the present. If that makes sense, because I think that is the coolest magic trick to pull off, and I feel like we got pretty darn close to that, and most of it is because of the restraint of one Jared Kajak in not killing Whitebeard. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, that took a lot of restraint. I'm not gonna lie. Out of all the NPCs that I've wanted to kill, he's definitely still top of the list.
But he was already dead by the time you knew he was dead. So there you go.
I know, and that's one of the reasons why it was so hard for Civ to listen to Uggo lament the fact that he killed Whitebeard in the future, in the present, whatever. Because honestly, like, that's part of the reason, the only reason why I think Civ was so willing to just deal with it, you know, suck it up and deal with Whitebeard. I think the reason why Whitebeard gets underneath his skin is because it just reminds him so much of Ulswatch and his past and the people that he had to deal with on a regular basis. People in power, not only on the criminal side of things, but also the oligarchs. Yeah. So I think that's why I got under his skin so much, even more than Persta. He hated Persta, but he at least saw like a glimmer of why she was doing what she was doing, or trying to do something for the greater good or a positive aspect. So he was giving her that little kernel or nugget of respect. But there was none of that with Whitebeard. Not even a crumb. Yeah.
He showed so much respect to Persta. If that's respect, I'd hate to see disrespect.
Yeah, you would.
We got a couple comments in chat about the white witch mark on the map.
Sure.
And why...
I was surprised you guys didn't follow up on that.
I thought I did ask about it.
That was all Fahima.
I thought I did.
Yeah, I know, but
we didn't. You said that we didn't see it. Remember?
Right, but you didn't. Fahima, you didn't ask him about it. You asked me, but you didn't ask him.
Oh. Well.
That's fine.
That's fine. Can't anymore.
It's a fun little Easter egg, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine my prediction of what his reaction would be that he probably would know some kind of legend of the White Witch, but I'm not sure there would be much more. I don't think I knew. I thought at the time that there would be more information than just like, oh yeah, there's this legend of the White Witch. But we'll never know.
Well, we'll never know.
We'll never know.
Well, I kind of feel like that's the fun. That's the reward of us spending so much time in the past and doing all of the stuff that we did, is that Jeff gets to draw on that as a storyteller now. He gets to, cherry pick, what do I want to have pop up again in the present? And I think that's an awesome set of tools to get to play with.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Mockton, aka Jim Whitted. A question for everyone. This year, the HOB have been to Ulswatch, Thorn, back to Turles, and Axbright. What comes to mind as standout moments or favorite encounters of 2021? Trick question, because it's all been amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
Thanks, Jim Whitted.
Jess,
what do you guys think?
Take a stab at that one?
Or? Oh my god, how do I even... Well, okay, what was the first episode? Well, we started our own channel this year, so all of the episodes...
Yeah, and that all started in Ulswatch.
We started in Ulswatch.
But that wasn't even until March or April?
Wow.
I know, it seems crazy that It seems like longer than I'm sure Morgan will correct us in chat, but I feel like that wasn't until later in the year, right? Because the first episode, like January something, was our last caffeine episode. Yeah,
And
March.
that our holiday episode was in Olsbach. I remember that because it was like sad.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, Civ gave us scarves as like disguises, but he gave us real life scarves.
to keep.
But wasn't that right before you guys went? It was right before
Possibly.
you went to Olsvach.
Yeah, it was
Wasn't
in
it?
preparation to go to Olsbach at least.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of those episodes. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely partial to Axe Sprite because I just mentioned this in Discord, but this is the first time I've ever had a D&D character visit their hometown in all of the games that I've played and all the characters. So
Oh, wow.
it's
Really?
huge for me. Yeah.
You only had to wait
Never
100
been-
episodes for it to happen.
You
You've
know,
never played in a game where your character is from the town that it's taking place in?
no. Yeah.
Wow.
And these are multiple year long campaigns, and it just always happens to be that my character is from a town that has like a bit of, it's either far away or there's some mystery shrouding it, so we don't quite get there. But yeah, so I thought Axe Sprite was just delightful, and I had a lot of fun. So yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that. I know you were really looking forward to it, and you had talked about wanting to go there so many times. I really wanted it to live up to your expectations, and I'm glad you enjoyed
Well,
it.
we've all gotten to go to our character's hometown. We went to Bingle, we've been to Turles, we've obviously gone to Thorn and Olswatch, so we've all gotten a chance to see where each character is from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the beautiful reward that we get from having done all of that is that you really get a clear-cut picture of why each character is the way they are. Like, it makes perfect sense that James is how he is, being from Turles, and it makes perfect sense that Lily is the way she is, being from Bingle.
Mm-hmm.
And Thorn and Olsvach are, obvious slam dunks when it comes to Civ and Uggo. And the thing that I think was beautiful about Axe Sprite was not necessarily the town, but going into Fahima's home and seeing the monsters that were there, that they were being taken care of, and the fact that Fahima doesn't really know the townsfolk that well except for one person, and that the house was invisible that entire time. That really kind of, takes Fahima's character and like wraps it up and adds a little bow to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, this block anymore. It's like a beautiful little gift.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Well,
it
it's
really
such a testament to all of you bringing such beautiful weight and history to all of your characters, that even though we hadn't really completely fleshed out these places, that you still created the characters, played the characters in a way that when we do arrive there, all of the things that we had seen added up to something. And it's a testament to all of you and your incredible character creation.
yeah, and they're all so different from each other. I mean, you have a tropical vacation island next to Thorn, next to Olsvach. Like, just saying the names of the towns, I immediately have a picture of what that place is, who those people are, what they're going through or have gone through. The accents, the way people dress, the even like the culture. Like how in Olswatch people, are supposed to wash their hands before they conduct business or meet one another. Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that the map seemed like this vague blob when we first started, and now like each place is so iconic.
well,
And it makes me want to explore more of the map now and see the rest of it.
And a nod to Jeff too is that when you were saying the names of the towns out loud, Jared, they just the way they sound in your mouth sounds like the personality of the place. Axe Sprite, like us, just everything's just fine. An Axe Sprite, Olsvach, Thorn, Bingle, Turles. Like you just get it. You get what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I might have
it's
to
amazing.
change the name of Turles after what happened.
Monsterless. No? No?
Hey.
Uh,
Hey.
Yeah, that's magical and wonderful, and it's
What
this,
about you,
this.
Jeff? Is there any standout moments from this year?
Oh my
Any
God,
moments that
so
pop
many.
out in your head?
So many. Yes, so many beautiful, beautiful moments. I've been lucky to be a part of. I mean,
What about a moment that you yourself like wrote or constructed that you then hoped that it was going to be cool, and then it lived up to those expectations?
Hmm.
ooh, there are a number of those. You know, the end of, you know, not this year, but the moment that I had been thinking about the longest was when you guys finally met the Ashen Mage on top of Sky Scorcher Peak. That was going to be the end of the 10 episodes. That would that was the end of the
So
story.
wild.
But, yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff we got added, obviously. But the big reveal after 10 episodes was going to be that Vic was the bad guy, right? That was going to be the big. That was how the story was going to end. It was like that was going to be the thing. And I remember writing a bunch of the Ashen Mage speech that she gives to you while I was on my eye surgery, which is way, way, way before you guys got there. And so after that, I felt like, man, I really have much more of a blank canvas because I know where the story's headed, but like there was so much more stuff that, you know, we got to build together. Like Olsvach, I didn't think we were ever going to go to Olsvach. Like Olsvach wasn't part of the story proper, right? It wasn't like I knew we needed to go to, thought we were going to go to Bingle at some point because I knew that you know, that was close to where one of the wardens were. I knew we were going to Turles. I at a certain point thought we were pretty sure we were going to Thorn, but you know, there's these places that I wasn't sure we were going to go. I wasn't sure we were going to go to Axbright, honestly. It became clear that Jessica really wanted to go there, and so we were going. But
That's the only reason why we went, because I was like, Jeff, please,
well,
please.
in a lot of ways. But you know, there are definitely moments that then I started thinking about, and they you know, I loved the moment where Civ first, you know, that chase into the alley when you first entered Olsvach and you meet your old gang. Like, I loved how that all played. It was exactly how I imagined it in my head, and like how you reacted to all of that. Just, it had so much weight of history behind it, even though we were improvising it in the moment. I thought that was awesome.
Commented on how they really saw like the past or the history between the characters, even though they were new NPCs.
Yeah,
it felt like people that Civ already knew.
Yeah,
and I think that's a testament to just us, you know, dropping into character and trusting one another.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm grateful to you for that, because it made those scenes really work well. What's another one that I mean, I've been thinking about Barbara, even though I didn't know that was her name. I've been thinking about her for a long, long time. What else? I've been, you know, obviously been thinking about the vault in Turles for a long time. And Jorl and breaking Jorl out and how that was all going to work, because I knew you guys wanted to do it for a long time. You know,
I'm genuinely curious as to what would have happened in the vault had we screwed it up. You know,
bad things, man. Bad things. Yeah, it was potentially very bad for you guys. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really wonderful moments this year that I'm grateful to have been a part of. I loved the scenes between Human Mama and Ugo.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, it was beautiful.
I was really scared about that character because I knew it meant so much to Ron. because a lot of it is based on very personal things for him in his life, and he was very specific about certain things about her, and I wanted to honor that and do it justice. And it's like, oh, Ron had this notion of Ugo's connection to this woman in his head the whole time, and now he's gonna meet her for the first time, and I have the responsibility of playing that. I was really worried about it, and I thought those scenes were so beautiful, and I was so heartened by how the audience reacted to her, and I'm really proud of that character and those scenes. Anyway, so there's a lot. I'm really grateful for this year. Go ahead.
Too. I thought he was an interesting character because he wasn't your stereotypical big dumb angry orc. So
well, all that came from Ron too. Ron was the one who said, "Can he be a warlock?" Really early on. I mean, I remember him walking up to me in the studio at Caffeine and saying, "Hey, I had an idea. I want Braca to be a warlock." And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." He's like, "Yeah, he's sort of the brains, and Ugo was the brawn." And so that came from Ron.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, also, even though the cheesemonger heist did not go as planned, very memorable. Very memorable part of the year.
That's one of my favorite moments of the entire year is Fahima jumping into the portal.
Yeah, crazy.
That to me was one of the
you allowed that to happen.
Well, one of the great. I mean, it's one of the great like D&D moments. It's like completely subversive. I think, and really brave and cool and interesting. And like you just jumped in with both feet. You didn't know how anyone's gonna get out of that situation, but it was worth the risk, and it kind of made the failure, quote unquote failure, the lack of completing the heist, still like you salvaged that and got something out of it. You guys have used this belt. I never thought you guys were going to get that belt. I wasn't placing that belt in the world so you guys could have it. And I've definitely spent many sleepless nights going, oh my God, is that belt going to make them just like win button this whole thing? But it's been awesome.
So far, no.
Really cool. So far, no.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever like win buttoned anything.
Yeah.
So before we wrap the show up, because it's that time, I just want to, unless Jessica, do you want to do it? Do you want to announce our little...
No, you go ahead.
Give. So it's that time of year. Y'all have been so generous. Not just watching the show, but obviously, yes. Thank you. Being patrons, or buying digital items, or subscribing on Twitch, or even the balloons. Like, it means so much to us that we were chatting today and decided we need to give back. So we're going to do a giveaway this Wednesday's show for sure. So if you can watch live, please do. It will be during the live show. Probably at the beginning, or when would you say, Jess? What's the best time to do it? The beginning or in the middle?
To do the giveaway?
The giveaway.
Well, we should do it like we did the last one, where you can submit the keyword during the intermission.
Got it.
And then we'll do the drawing right after the intermission. I think that's how we did it last time.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a giveaway. So we're putting it on here first for all of you diehard fans that watch the cooldown, and we'll of course put it on our socials and stuff as well. But you heard it here first. We're doing a giveaway on this Wednesday show, and this is going to be the last show of the year too. So
a holiday episode.
There might be some shenanigans.
Woohoo! Holiday episode.
What?
No pressure, Jeff. Just our last episode of the year, also holiday themed.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we're not an Olsmach, so the chance of it being incredibly dark and depressing is 50-50.
Well, we all of a sudden have a mystery creature showing up at our camp. That's how we left our last episode, so who knows what that's going to be.
Yeah. I love it.
Do we have any predictions? Any predictions in chat?
Oh, yeah. I'd love to hear your predictions. I've heard some cool predictions in the Discord.
Ooh, what are they?
The coolest one I heard, which...
It's Krampus.
It's Krampus. It'd be funny if it's like just a whole episode.
Oakart.
He's just like, I'm here to give you presents. And it's just a whole episode of hanging out with Krampus. Sit on my lap.
Why are you eating out of the feed bag, Krampus?
Feed bag? This is my bag of toys. New character Cliffhanger, says Gord the Rogue. Yeah. Anyway, the coolest idea that I heard in the Discord, which is not what it is. I'm sorry to say, it would be logistically quite odd if it was, but it is not what it is. Is somebody said it was Leonid as an
The way
That'd be
you
cool.
described it with the head in, and it kind of seemed like a bipedal person / creature.
Yeah.
I immediately went to, well, it's not Zanelka. Oh, it could be Leonid. Yeah. But Leonid's way over on the east side of the map.
Yeah,
so.
he's far away from where you guys are, but it would have been a cool, fun reveal, but no.
Kaz Farron says, "Elf on a shelf. This is a hag in a bag."
Hag in a bag. That's funny.
The ghost of Stranger's Fate, here to take the party on a journey to a possible future. Who else, Elliot? Jorl on hard times again.
Jorl catches up to us and just eats out of the feet. Without saying anything to us, he just immediately goes to the feedback.
It just left something in your feed bag.
Jess, do you have any guesses?
Okay, so the verbiage that was used is that it was just something is rooting through the feed bag.
Bipedal. Humanoid bipedal, but not necessarily human. It's Amy Vorpal.
It's Amy Vorpal.
That would be
I
amazing.
wish we'd love to have her back.
Yeah. Sad. Now I want to have Amy Vorpal on again.
I predict it will be someone we haven't met yet.
Okay. Anything else?
And they will expedite our journey north. Is that stupid?
I'm not reacting
No,
anyway.
You just sound like one of those kids in class where the teacher calls on you and you're like, it's happened in 1943. Yeah.
Did you read the book? Yes. It was about tale
A main
of
character.
2 cities.
No,
Cities hate each other.
I love the thrill of I think I've said this before. When I watch TV or movies, I really don't usually guess what's gonna happen. I love to just be thrilled by the moment, bedazzled by the plot lines. So I usually just let myself be surprised.
Really good. Yeah, that's how you know when it's really good, when you can't guess what's gonna happen next. You know, and you don't know.
Yeah,
Or you
predictability
think you
is
know, but you're
boring.
wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What do you think, Jared?
So here's my guess. You remember how we found out in Turles that there was a James before James? There was a person that found the Book of Shadows and was turned into
a woman,
demonic-like creature. I think there's a chance that it might be that person. That
But
I forget her name.
But she died.
Is not actually dead.
Oh.
Is not actually dead. Yeah. That's the twist. Because she's a demon. So demons, when they die, where do they go? They go back to the demon realm. They don't necessarily die like people die. You know, their souls at least go back. Like if you banish a demon or you kill a demon, it just goes back to whatever layer of hell it's from. But that doesn't mean that she couldn't get back to this realm.
Fresh a poll.
So, fresh a poll, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Poll.
That would be crazy.
Well, it's something that we've been I feel like we've been building up to for a while and not talking about and not dealing with is the James situation. Like that's coming to a head at this point. Like we have to deal with it. We can't ignore it anymore. We're going to eventually be dealing with Shazengao and all kinds of people that are already going to be giving us a hard time just based off of who we are and the fact that we're not a part of their world. And so having a demon traveling with us on top of that is an issue. Like the James thing needs to be dealt with.
And that kind of reminds me of, using the permanency spell. One of the spells that it can be used on is Alter Self, and that's a great way to solve the James problem, but it also is more fun to solve the James problem outside of just casting a permanent spell.
Right. I thought about that. I thought, that would have been a great use for permanency as well, and a legitimate use for permanency too. But I don't know if James would have let you burn that on him.
Also, who has Alter Self? I don't think any of us do.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, some great predictions. I'm
Jeff,
super excited
who
for
do you think
Wednesday.
it is, says Just Jules.
I still think it's Krampus.
It's probably Krampus. Jeff is usually pretty good at guessing what's going to happen in the next episode. Could be Loudmouth.
Could be loud.
Loudmouth. Whitebeard.
Yeah, okay, so
Round 6.
that concludes the Dungeon Cooldown. Thank you for joining us. This is our last cooldown of the year, so we will come back in the beginning of January to talk about everything that's going to happen this Wednesday. And of course, in the meantime, we have our Discord. So if you just here, let me put it in here right now. Discord. Look at that link in the chat to join our Discord and talk with the community. There's a spot for new watchers to catch up. We love seeing your reactions. There's a thread for every character. So head on in there and keep the story alive in the 2 weeks that we are off. But we will see you for a super fun celebration in 2 days. And until then,
With a giveaway.
humankind.
Vivo!
Vivo!
Oh.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, patrons.